Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Megalithic Thoughts. I'm your host, Connor Eyre, and today I want to talk to you about what are megaliths. It's quite a simple question. What are megaliths? When we hear the word megaliths, most people think of Stonehenge, or maybe the Great Pyramids of Egypt, maybe even the Moai statues. However, there are thousands upon thousands more megalithic structures all around the world, not just in England, not just in Egypt, not just in the Americas, but every country in the world has a various form of megalithic architecture. And this is just incredible that you look at what these ancients are doing 5, 6, even 7,000 years ago. But then you get even older stuff like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, and that's just pushing dating back even further and further. But why? Why is this? In England, we have many stone circles. Stonehenge, obviously, being the most famous, it attracts thousands upon thousands of visitors every single day. You've got Avery, just 20 miles down the road from Stonehenge. Personally, I think it's a much more impressive site. I think it's just got much more energy to it, and it's just a beautiful site set in some beautiful landscape. Unfortunately, you do have a modern day road and village running right through it. That was a real shame, really. But why? Why build all of this? Why go to so much effort all these thousands of years ago? And that is what I want to sort of uncover with you guys over the coming weeks and months with Megalithic Thoughts. We are going to be exploring various mysteries with these megalithic sites. Why were they built is a very important question. What were they built for? Similar to why, but I think two different questions. And what is there to learn? What is there to learn from the ancients that we can apply to everyday life? Because I believe we can learn a lot from our ancestors, from the ancients, from these people that were building these monumental constructions thousands upon thousands of years ago. Another sort of megalith that a lot of people talk about are dolmens and burial chambers. Where most people hear about burial chambers, they quite often think of New Grange Island. It's a beautiful site, it's very impressive. However, there are many more all around the world. I was recently in Karnak researching the megaliths there, and there's just some incredible burial chambers, quite similar to that of Newgrange. And at that point, you have to just ask yourself, were the ancients connected? Were they? And I think they were. You might think I'm crazy saying that, but I think they were connected. Because you look at some of the rock art, the basic architecture of some of these sites, and you're like, well, hang on a minute. You've got this megalith here and you've got this megalith here, yet they are thousands upon thousands of miles apart, but they look very similar. Again, you've got pyramids all around the world, not just in Egypt. You've got them in the Americas, you've got some incredible ones in Mexico alone. Again, why? Was there a long lost global civilization? This is something I want to talk to you guys about. I think that's going to be a later video because I really want to focus on what are megaliths. One of the most common sorts of megaliths, when we think about megaliths, are single standing stones. There are many all around the world, just from a couple of feet tall up to 20, 30 foot tall. It's incredible. And there were taller. In England, the tallest standing stone is the Rudston monolith. It is 26 foot tall. It's incredible. There was a later church built around it. This is an interesting thing we quite often see with a lot of megalithic sites, that churches were later built around megalithic sites. Why is that? Have a think about that for a second. Why were they building churches at these pagan sites? Doesn't make sense to me. This is the thing, we have to uncover the truth of our history. Another common sort of megalith that I spoke about a minute ago are dolmens and burial chambers. Dolmens are very interesting. I'm a personal favourite of mine. They really are. You get a really basic ones that's 3 or 4 small stones, usually about 2 foot tall, with a big capstone on top. That is a basic dolmen. But we come across many other sorts of dolmen as well. You come across ones that do have more like walls, usually 3 walls and a nice entrance. Other times we have others that are going a bit more round. Quite a lot of these are boxy, but then you get more round ones. There's quite a lot of interesting ones that we saw in Karnak. There was some beautiful examples. I'm going to show you. This is a personal favourite of mine. This is just a beautiful example of a dolmen. What were dolmens for? We quite often look at them as burial chambers. I believe that they were used as burial chambers at a much later date. I believe the original use of a dolmen was more of a spiritual connection with the earth sort of thing, where you would maybe do psychedelic mushrooms in such, and you would then have visions. And that is where we get our ideas from, are these visions. And you would get a vision to maybe build a stone circle or something. I'm not saying that is definite, but I'm saying it's a possibility. We simply cannot rule everything out. But don't get me wrong, some dolmens were certainly built just as burial chambers. But I believe some were more than burial chambers. Maybe even built for acoustic properties, for sound, maybe for sound healing. Maybe dolmens are a healing centre. They are a truly beautiful construction of the ancients. Another very common sort of megalithic construction we see all around the world are stone circles. Obviously, the most famous being that of Stonehenge. Stonehenge is an incredible sight, don't get me wrong on that. You have these incredible trilithons, and so many people are drawn to Stonehenge, but there are so much more stone circles around the world than just Stonehenge. Some even more incredible. Let's talk about Stonehenge for a minute. Many researchers talk about Stonehenge. Some talk about Stonehenge's earth energies and its healing purposes. Maria Wheatley is someone that talks a lot about this. I truly recommend you go and look at her work. It's very good on Stonehenge. But what was Stonehenge? Was it a healing centre? Or was it more than a healing centre? Maybe it was a multi-use centre. Maybe it was a healing centre. Maybe it was another place to use psychedelics. Or maybe it's even something we can't even comprehend today. Because this is the thing, you look at this and you think, what was going on inside the ancients' minds? And I truly think it's so incredible, so vast that we today cannot even comprehend what the ancients were thinking, what the ancients were doing. Another incredible stone circle is, of course, Avebury. Avebury is the biggest stone circle in the world. It is truly beautiful. You have the outer main ring and you have several smaller rings within it. It's just an incredible sight. I highly recommend people go to Avebury. Avebury is also an incredible sight, with it being so big, but you can also walk around the stones. You can sit and meditate with the stones, you can hold the stones, you can hug the stones, you can get the energies from the stones. I just think it's so incredible that they put so much effort into them. So many of our issues could be solved with megaliths, I believe. Certainly, when I go to a megalithic site for several days afterwards, even a week, I just feel so much better. It's almost like the energy of the site stays with you for several days, which I just find myself feeling so relaxed. Like all my issues are gone. It's incredible. So we really should look at this. I think a lot of people with mental health issues could benefit from megaliths, taking a walk around places like Avebury. When you go to Avebury, there are several other incredible sites around it. You have the West Kennet Avenue. There used to be two avenues with Avebury. There used to be the second one. Unfortunately, that is no longer around. It was destroyed, most likely put into a lot of the buildings we see in Avebury Village. Another incredible site. Also, it's not megalithic, it was built by the ancients, and it's really incredible, is Silbury Hill, the largest prehistoric man-made mound in Europe. It's just incredible. You can usually see it when you're driving towards Avebury, but getting up close and personal to it, you look up at it and you are just taken aback by the size of this, thinking about the amount of work that went into it. Lots of people say it's just a backfill and waste from Avebury and that. I don't think so. I think there was much more of a purpose for Silbury Hill. There is a solstice alignment at Silbury Hill where the sun goes down one of the sides of it. Peter Knight is someone that spoke about that in his book on West Kennet Longbarrow. Again, I highly recommend you go and check his work out, especially the West Kennet Longbarrow book, because it's a great book. West Kennet Longbarrow. It's an incredible longbarrow, just basically next to Avebury. You can see Silbury Hill from it. You get beautiful views of Silbury Hill and the surrounding areas. West Kennet Longbarrow is one of my favourite megalithic sites. I don't know why, I just feel such a deep connection with this site. I've gone there so many times, more times than I can count. It's always beautiful. I love to just sit there and just feel the energy of the site. It's quite an energetic site. I've been there before. There was this one time I went there and I just didn't feel welcome there. And when you don't feel welcome at a site, I believe it's always best to leave the site, come back another day. Because there's usually a reason why the site doesn't want you there. And I don't know why it didn't want me there that day, and I left there the following time I went there. I felt welcome again. People have bad days. Maybe the energies also have bad days. I don't think that's a possibility. That's the only time I've never felt welcome there. But again, it's a beautiful site. It's a huge long barrow. It has 4 side chambers and a main chamber at the back. The side chambers are perfect for a little bit of peaceful meditation or even a drumming session. A lot of us like to drum at these megalithic sites to really help connect ourselves with such incredible sites. But why is this? Why do we want to connect with these sites? Why do we have a connection with these sites? I believe it. This is still ingrained in our mind from all these thousands of years ago that these sites are something for us. There's plenty of other long barrows around. There's Stony Littleton Long Barrow. This is another beautiful one. It's much lower down. You have to almost crawl through it to get to the back. But it's worth it. I do recommend doing that. But the interesting thing with Stony Littleton Long Barrow is the fact that it's got an ammonite fossil built into the construction. It's built into the entrance. As we know, the ancients really liked spirals and incorporate that into a lot of the megalithic artwork that we see. especially at places like Newgrange. We see a lot of spiral artwork there. There's plenty of other stone cirques around the world and England. It's not just Stonehenge and Avebury. There's just so many. Another really amazing one is the Rollright Stones. This is just an incredible site in Oxfordshire, and there's several other close by megaliths. It's just an incredible site, it really is. The interesting thing with the Rollright Circle is that people quite often get headaches. These headaches can be quite light ones, or so bad that you have to actually leave the circle. It and this is because it is such an energetic site that it can mess with you. Another interesting site is this particular one in France. I'm not sure of the name of it, but as you can see, it is on a little island going underwater slightly, near Gavronis, Cairn. Again, both incredible sites, but this stone circle is just interesting. It's supposedly a double circle going in like a figure of eight. We can only see a small section of it at the moment. But thousands of years ago when it was built, it would have been above water. It wouldn't have been a small island. It would have been on the same bit of land as Gavronis, which it's incredible. This area of Karnak does have over 550 megalithic sites, including the Karnak alignment. This is just an incredible site that myself and a good colleague and friend went to research megaliths, and it's just incredible. It's thousands upon thousands of massive megaliths going in huge alignments. It's not an avenue. It is a full-on alignment. But why? And there's geometry encoded within the alignment itself. Again, you have to ask yourself, why? Why go to all of this effort? This is the thing. What are megaliths? The title of this video. What are megaliths? I've told you about several different sorts of megaliths. There's many more. But I ask you, what are megaliths? What are megaliths to you? For me, megaliths aren't just beautiful sights. They are beautiful, but they aren't just that. There's so much more to them. It's not just the energy. It's not just the landscape. It's a real connection to our ancestors. That's what megaliths are for me. What are they for you? Do feel free to comment what you believe megaliths are. If you've got any good theories, comment that as well. I'm always interested in learning other people's views, opinions, and theories on this stuff. It's all incredible. Please do like and subscribe to help support my work. It's really appreciated. But yes, thank you for joining me. I am your host, Connor Eyre, and this has been Megalithic Thoughts with Megalithic Awakening.